Welcome back everyone to Blender to Unreal Engine 5, the complete beginner's guide, and this is where we left it off. Alright, so now let's come in and actually think about our stone wall. Now the thing is with the stone, we're not going to need to worry too much about this stone on top because that's actually going to be hidden. What we need to worry about is the stonework coming round here. Also, we want to give this a little bit of a variation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this, I'm going to press Ctrl A or transforms. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually subdivide this. So I'm going to subdivide it just to give me a little bit of leeway of making it, stand out a little bit, be a little bit uneven because we don't want it too even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to add modifier. So I recommend when you're doing anything with sculpting, which we'll be doing a little bit later on, let's use the multi-resolution. And when we're doing anything that's simple like this wall or something, let's use the subdivision surface. So let's use subdivision surface. Let's put it on simple because we don't actually want to change the shape. And then what we'll do is we'll turn up the subdivision. So if I turn up this now, something like 5, and then I press Ctrl A, you'll see now we've got loads of subdivisions. Now, just be careful that you don't go too far because at the moment we can see if I go in here, it's got 5,000 vertices, 14,000 triangles, which is quite high. So I don't think we need that much. So let's go back. And what we'll do is before we actually commit to this, we'll turn this down to 4, press Ctrl A. And now we can see that we've got a lot less to actually work with. Now, the other thing is before I do that, what I want to do is I want to go back again before I actually commit to this, and I want to mark some seams out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to actually highlight this with a question mark like so, and then I'm going to come around, get rid of all of these, not get rid of them, but actually select them. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a seam on these. So right click, mark seam, and then I want a seam right here in the middle where no one's going to see it. So right click, mark seam. And the thing is now this is going to be quite long, but this part here is actually going to be into the actual ground. We're not going to actually see this, so we can actually work around that. So I'm going to grab this one, right click, mark seam. All right, now what I can do is if I come in and I apply my subdivision, so Ctrl A, apply a subdivision, and there we go. We've got all our seams marked and it saved us a lot of work that. Okay, so now we've got that, let's actually come in and add in a bevel first of all. So add modifier. Let's first of all reset our transformations. Ctrl A, all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry, add modifier. Let's bring in a bevel. Turn that bevel down, it's way too high. So let's turn it up by 1. Just making these edges a little bit less sharp. And then what we'll do is we'll press tab A to grab everything. And we're going to come in and add in our friend, the randomizer. And we're going to turn that all the way down like so to maybe, let's look at that. Let's right click and shade auto smooth. Yeah, and I think that's going to be enough to actually get away with. Okay, so we've got that now. Now let's think next about adding in our material. So what we're going to do is we're going to come to material. I'm going to click new and I'm going to put it on, I think it's called stone wall. So here we are, and we can see the one that's called stone wall, and we've got one called stone. So I think I'm going to use the stone wall. The stone, I think, is, yeah, it's just basic stone. We're going to use that for the outside. So the one we want is this one, which is stone wall. And if I zoom into this, we can see we've got all of these beautiful stonework. All right, let's put that down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it as stone wall. Like so. And then what I'm going to do is first of all, we're going to unwrap this. So I'm going to press tab, U, unwrap. And then what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to my shading panel and hopefully, yep, there we go. We've got our lighting in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my principled, Control Shift and T. I'm going to bring in my stone wall, which is this one here. Grab all 5 of these. We've got an occlusion in there. Don't worry about that. We won't be using it. Just grab them all though. It will bring it in. You just won't know what to do with it. So now you can see it's brought it in. But hey ho, what do we do with it? We don't need that. And the reason is there's 2 ways of... we will discuss this in a bit, but the reason why we're not using it now is when you use Eevee, you can get ambient occlusion in with just a tick, as we showed you earlier. But you can also do ambient occlusion in cycles with an actual texture. So this texture will actually give you some ambient occlusion. Unfortunately, I don't feel like it's as useful as doing the ambient occlusion in the actual compositing, because it will be based then on real world lighting. So I'm going to show you how to do that, but at the moment, don't use ambient occlusion in your actual material. So I'm going to delete that out of the way, like so, and we should now be left with this. And then what I'm going to do now is just work on the actual color of this actual stone wall. So the first thing I'm going to bring in is a RGB curve. So let's bring in an RGB curves. So RGB curves. I'm going to drop that in there. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this down now. So I'm going to turn this down. Well, like that. Let's have a look. Because it is wet, remember. So we need it to be a little bit kind of moist and darker, like so. All right, that's looking good. The only thing is, at the moment, I feel like this stonework is a little bit too big. And I'm also looking at this stone. This looks the wrong way around to me. So what we need to do is we need to go into UV editing. We need to put this onto material, which it's on. And then what we can do now is we can do a little bit of work on here. So let's come in and let's see exactly what's going on. I'm not going to worry about the top and bottom. What I want to worry about is just the sides going around here. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to press L on here, and there we can see this is how it looks. That is going the right way around. Now this one here probably is going this way. Let's have a look, and there we go. So AR90, spin it round, and now you'll see it looks better already. And then we'll come around to the back, which I think will be going the wrong way as well. R90, spin it round, and there we go. Making sure this one looks good, this one looks good. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab all of these side pieces, like so, and I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. So I'm going to press A in the UV map, S, bring them out, and there we go. They're looking much, much nicer. Now, it's up to you how you balance these. Do you want these right up to here? So you can see these here. Do you want them right up to here? So it looks like it's actually being supported there. I think actually this looks pretty nice already. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this. I'm just looking if there's any repeat on there. Can't really see any. So yeah, that's looking good. All right, so let's go back to modeling now. Let's press the little question mark to bring everything back. And then what we're going to do now is we're just going to check it on our render. I'm going to pull out a little bit, go around, double tap the A. Let it load up. Also, if these lines are getting in the way of you seeing what it actually looks like, just click off these two interlocking balls and then it'll just hide them out of the way. Yeah, I think that's looking really, really nice. All right, so what we'll do then on the next lesson is we'll start getting these supports in. This is the main boring part out of the way. We'll start getting these supports in, and then I think what we'll do is we'll probably then work on the bottom of this, you know, the steps and the supports before actually attacking the roof. Because the roof, so what we're going to do is get the windows in, the doors, all of the supports in. The roof's much harder to do than the rest of this build. And I want it to have a nice linear kind of learning process. All right, everyone. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.